So, Jonathan Majors has been found guilty. So, let's just get right to the article because there's a lot to get to. So, Jonathan Majors has been found guilty of reckless assault and harassment in his domestic violence trial. Oh, where is the cursor? There we are. A New York City jury of 3 men and 3 women just delivered the verdict on the Loki actor after less than 3 days of deliberation. Once touted as an Oscar contender for his role in Searchlight's now-shelved magazine Dreams, Majors could be looking at up to a year behind bars. Sentencing has been set for February 6th. And more on that. Actually, I'll just do it now. Marvel has also immediately dropped him the second the verdict was passed down. Now, for those who have watched this trial from the beginning, from before there was a trial, know that the only reason I've been following this trial on this channel is because he was such a big part of Marvel. So, since he's been dropped like a hot potato, I will no longer be doing that. So, the February 6th sentencing, I will do on my other channel, which is dedicated to the news. So, with that, I will put a link to my other channel in the description. So, if you want to subscribe to be notified, or I don't know if the notification bell works for people who aren't subscribed. I do not understand the point of the notification bell. To me, that's just redundant if you're subscribed. So, I don't know how you guys want to keep tabs on when this comes out, or you'll just remember that February 6th is his sentencing and go to that channel. I don't know how you guys want to do it. I'm not in the business of begging people to subscribe to my channels. So, if you want to follow along, or you go to my channel and you like what you see, then of course I would be over the moon if you subscribe, but I'm not one to beg. So, moving on. The actor was facing a total of 4 misdemeanor charges. Majors was not found guilty of intentional assault in the 3rd degree and of aggravated harassment in 2nd degree against then-girlfriend Grace Jabbari in the incident in March this year. Okay, so let's see what he was found guilty of. As the verdict was read Monday, Major stood facing the jurors and remained completely still with his hands clasped, his face expressionless. I want absolutely no reactions in the courtroom, no outbursts, Gaffey said before the verdict was read. Major's family members and supporters in the first 2 rows listened in silence as the jury foreperson pronounced Majors guilty on 2 counts and not guilty on 2 others. As Gaffey thanked the jurors, Major sat between his lawyers and faced straight ahead. The Bible, notepad, and ceramic cup he had brought to court daily rested on the table in front of him. After delivering the verdict, Judge Michael Gaffey reminded Majors that he remains under a protective order to avoid all contact with Jabbari. Because, guilty or not, he totally wants to have contact with a woman who put him through this. I mean, you know, if he's truly, completely not guilty and it was a miscarriage of justice, he's not going to want to have anything to do with her. And if he is the monster that he himself claimed he was in an audio, to try to manipulate her, then yeah, I could see why he has to be reminded of that. But so far, he's kept his distance, so I don't see why he would change tack now. Arrested and promptly released on March 25th after the alleged assault on Jabari, Majors always has insisted on his innocence. Months ago, he entered a not guilty plea to the charges. At the Manhattan DA's office, we are committed to centering survivors in all our work, said District Attorney Alvin Bragg in a statement soon after the verdict was delivered this afternoon. The evidence presented throughout this trial illustrated psychological and emotional abuse and escalating patterns of coercion far too common across the many intimate partner violence cases we see each and every day. Today, a jury determined that pattern of abuse and coercion culminated with Mr. Majors assaulting and harassing his girlfriend. We thank the jury for its service and the survivor for bravely telling her story despite having to relive her trauma on the stand. You know, I was told that her testimony on day one said that he never abused her prior to this incident. So what pattern is there? I think we have a different definition of pattern. Jabari's lawyer, Brittany Henderson, said Monday, justice has been served by today's verdict. Major's defense team didn't see it that way, and they are planning to take that disagreement back to court, which is their right. It is clear that the jury did not believe Grace Jabari's story of what happened in the SUV because they found that Mr. Majors did not intentionally cause any injuries to her. We are grateful for that, Majors' lawyer Priya Chaudhry said Monday. We are disappointed, however, that despite not believing Ms. Jabari, the jury nevertheless found that Mr. Majors was somehow reckless while she was attacking him. Mr. Majors is grateful to God, his family, his friends, and his fans for their love and support during these harrowing 8 months, Chaudhry added. Mr. Majors still has faith in the process and looks forward to fully clearing his name. She concluded in the beginning stage of the next round of legal action in the matter. After 8 days of testimony in Judge Gaffey's Manhattan courtroom, the jury was left to weigh starkly different accounts of what happened between Majors and Jabari during a car ride home that instead ended at a downtown sidewalk in the middle of the night. They also heard very different versions of what went on in Majors' Chelsea apartment with an apparently injured Jabari on the night of March 24th and early morning of March 25th, when NYPD officers responded to a 911 call from the actor himself, a call that led to Jabari going to Bellevue Hospital and saying that Majors had struck her. Majors' call to 911 also led to him being arrested and booked by police. You know, juries tend to talk after the fact, so I really am curious why he was found guilty on 2 charges. Following closing arguments by the defense and Manhattan District Attorney's Office, the jury went behind closed doors around 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on December 14th. Later that day, the jurors requested to have the charges read aloud to them again, as well as have audio and video from the late March incident between Majors and Jabari played for them. After some confusion about exactly what video the jury wanted to see, Gaffey read the charges and the material was played in court on the afternoon of December 15th. Soon after beginning deliberations on December 18th, the jury sent 2 notes to the court asking to re-examine some of the case's evidence. Specifically, the panel wanted to see again video of the couple fighting outside their chauffeured car on March 24th, have some of the charges reread to them, and hear a portion of testimony from a friend of Jabari's of what went down in a nightclub after the incident with Majors. Testifying for several days since the much-delayed trial officially started December 4th, Jabari told the court that Majors struck her in the head and violently twisted her hand and arm during a struggle for his phone on March 24th. The British National explained the alleged incident occurred after she spotted an explicit text from another woman on the actor's phone while they returned to his NYC apartment after dinner together. A hospital exam later that next morning, after the police came to Major's apartment and found a sleeping Jabari in a small back room, found that she had a fractured right finger and a laceration with dried blood behind her right ear, among other injuries and marks. Still with no video from inside the car, the jurors only had testimony from Jabari and from the driver, both witnesses for the prosecution, but with contradictory recollections to go on. There was a lot of sometimes subjective video of the couple on the street in the aftermath of the alleged incident, including Majors trying to push Jabari back to the vehicle and Jabari chasing Majors down the sidewalk. "We didn't cherry-pick witnesses," Manhattan Assistant District Attorney Kelly Galloway said in closing arguments on December 14th. "We want you to hear the whole truth." Control, domination, manipulation, and abuse were how Majors kept Jabari in check, Galloway added in her closing argument. On the defense side, Majors' main lawyer, Priya Chaudhry, called Jabari a liar in her closing argument and said that authorities bought her white lies, her big lies, and all her pretty little lies, stating that the accuser engaged in so-called revenge partying against Majors. Chaudhry added to the jurors, "This entire case is built on Grace's lies, and boy does Grace lie." But they're not saying what were the two charges he was found guilty on. Oh my God, Deadline, you suck. Despite speculation right up until nearly the last day of the trial that Majors would testify on his own behalf, the actor did not. The trial's last witness was Majors' agent Alan Ruspoli from William Morris Endeavor. Even though Majors' management and PR firms dropped him soon after the incident with Jabari, along with several film roles and ad campaigns, WME has stayed with the actor over the months leading up to the trial amid scrutiny of his behavior and personality. I don't know. Maybe he should have testified. There was obviously a reason that he didn't. And I don't know if it was playing it safe. I didn't know before, and I still don't know if that was playing it safe. Majors and Jabari first met in London in 2021 on the set of Disney Marvel's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, with the actor playing villain Kang. Self-described professional dancer, Jabari was hired as the actor's movement coach on the Ant-Man sequel. Intended to be a pivotal part of the next phase of the MCU, Majors Kang was one of the many high-profile roles that Creed III actor has been getting in recent years, as he was heralded as a bankable star of the big and small screen. Well, that's not happening anymore. The verdict's impact on what remains of Majors' career prospects is uncertain. As I said, Marvel just dropped him. But what is known is that the trial itself revealed a truckload of details that Majors' lawyers had fought tooth and nail to keep private. So, yeah, that's never good if you're trying to keep evidence sealed. In my mind, that's never a good thing. They succeeded at first in a case marked by delays, closed-door hearings, and months of legal maneuvering over misdemeanor criminal charges that normally end in plea deals. Although there have been mentioned in an October filing by the DA's office of medical records from London related to an incident that occurred in September 2022, nothing ever further was said about the matter. There was also a bevy of material related to Majors that was sealed late last month after the judge termed it likely to be prejudicial and inflammatory. As reported before, Deadline has learned that the sealed documents at issue contain information on potential past incidents involving the actor both in the U.S. and the U.K. Overreach by the defense in its questioning of an often crying Jabari saw Gaffey reverse himself and partially pull back the veil on the previously sealed evidence of past conduct by Majors. 4 days after the trial began, Gaffey ruled that Chaudhry opened the door to the texts from 2022 when the couple were in the UK during the shooting of the second season of Disney Plus's Loki, because she impugned Jabari during cross-examination. Alright. During testimony on December 8th, an expressionless Majors listened in court as texts between him and Jabari about an incident in London 6 months before his arrest in New York were read aloud. "I will tell the doctor I bumped my head if I go," Jabari wrote, "a plan to get painkillers from a hospital." Majors wrote back that going to the hospital would lead to investigation even if you do lie and they suspect something. Now, this is where I've gotten a lot of hate based on my interpretation, because she did say that he never abused her before this alleged incident, which isn't alleged anymore. But I cannot read that sentence and say that nothing happened. I mean, I appreciate that he's a big black man and racism is a thing. I get that. But I cannot read that freaking sentence and not think that she was covering up for him for beating her. I mean, I would think that they would have phrased it so much differently if this was just, don't tell him it was me because of racism. There's a lot of ways to phrase that without it sounding fishy. So of course, even if Jabari said he didn't abuse me before this sentence kind of contradicts that. And I don't care what anybody else says, that's how I read it. Now, why would she say that he didn't beat her before when she's accusing him of doing it now? Who knows? But, yeah, I just cannot read that sentence any differently. A few days later, those texts, as well as other video and audio evidence, were released to the media and the general public. And let me read the texts to you again. "Jonathan, you can't say this. I'm going to have to call someone. I'm sorry for not hugging you this morning. I really am. I was sleepy and disoriented by the fact you thought I would break your necklace. I love you so much, obviously. What do you mean you put this in motion? You have a family, Jonathan, a mother and a daughter. What would Ella do without you? Don't do this to her. Don't even think these thoughts." Which is obviously in relation to her claims that he tried to manipulate her by talking about suicide. Why we don't have both sides of the conversation, I do not know, but there you go. Other witnesses in the nearly 2-week trial included the police officers who arrested Majors, an emergency surgeon who treated Jabari, a domestic violence expert, Jabari's nightclub companions after the fight, and NYPD detective Ronnie Meha, who investigated Major's domestic violence cross-complaint against Jabari at lawyer Chaudhry's urging. Jabari turned herself in to the NYPD police precinct on October to answer a so-called desk appearance ticket recommended by Meha. The DA's office said that it looked into the cross-complaint and opted to not charge Jabari, calling the matter closed and sealed. In terms of Jonathan Majors with today's verdict, things might just be beginning. So, let me go see if I can find what the 2 charges he was found guilty of, since Deadline was so kind as to not tell me that. Alright. History. Alright. Let's see if comicbook.com is kinder to me, because what the hell, Deadline? Alright. So, he was found guilty of both. Oh my god, stupid ads. Sorry about that. Comicbook.com likes to have ads just start playing whether you want them to or not. Okay, so both harassment and reckless assault in the 3rd degree. Let's see. If it's, okay, it doesn't say what those 2 charges were relating to. Because we know the incident in the car, those charges were dropped. That he was found not guilty. But it doesn't say what the incident was that he was charged with. Anyway. So, but as far as Kang is concerned, we do not know yet. We know he was dropped by Marvel. He will no longer be Kang. But we do not know yet if Kang is just going to be recast, or if they're just going to drop the whole Kang storyline, which actually, if you've watched Loki season 2, could absolutely positively be an easy thing to do. Or they could, like I said, they could recast. So it's either recast, or they could just simply do a quick recast, have a bigger fish take down Kang, so that they can happily go on with a different bad guy. But anyway, like I mentioned before, because he's been officially dropped from Marvel, and that was the reason I was doing these videos on this channel, I will do the sentencing. I will do a video on sentencing, but I will do it on my other channel, Susan on the News. So, with that, I think I'm done rambling. And I will see you guys in the next video.